they in some part they indicate, for example, where was I talking about? This whole process will be automated with the help of onboard computers on the trucks. So they are actually asking me in the business process. One of the business goals is to install onboard computers on the truck. Now, how this onboard computers connect, they didn't mention. It's not a business goal. So you can't say to install wireless onboard computers because the specification did not say wireless. Wireless is your choice. This is the choice of the technology. This is after you analyze the requirement, after you come up with all the specification, analyze the specification, then you chose the technology. Okay, and so on. So after business goals, we have technical goals. And if you go back to that page 398 of the book, you will see example of how this technical goals should be. So this should be in terms of scalability, availability, network performance, security, manageability, and as an example. It should not be the technical goals on your design. So at this stage, all what we're doing is we are analyzing the project. So someone is coming to me and saying, I want you to design a network for my company. This is what I need. So at this stage, you don't know what you are going to use. You don't know which type of routers. You don't know which. Too early for this step. So some of you in the technical goals had things like the range of the wireless access point should be high, for example. That's wrong. This is not a technical goal. The technical goal is what is the availability requirement? Do we need the network to be 100% available, 99% available, 98 point something available? What are the customer criteria for accepting the service level of a network? Are we going to have any voice or multimedia connection in there? Is there any requirement in terms of latency, delay? And then you go back to the chapter 1 or 2 relevant to this, and you see the examples, what are the requirements. Other things in technical goals is, don't give me definitions. I don't want you to give me a definition of this or that. Right? So don't come and say, availability. Availability is the amount of that. You're not giving me a lecture in your assignment. You should be specifying what are the availability requirements. Okay? So technical goals and business goals should not be from your design, should not be a design decision or choice. So we need the switches to be by and large because we selected this house. It's not a technical goal. This is your selections. The technical goals section should also describe any trade-off the customer is willing to make. For example, some customer might indicate that affordability can be sacrificed to meet strict availability goals, or you might sacrifice availability to save some money. This is the need to be stated in technical goals. Then you have the user community and data store. You remember that user community and data store? If you read this section, it's pointing you to a table that you can use. User community, the type of the users, the data store, the type of database, website, where the information are addressed, the network application, what sort of application they use, and this section is pointing you to specific tables, specific content that you should be using. This should be used to justify the choice of your logical diagram. So by analyzing the type of users, how many users they have, by analyzing the application they use, by estimating the traffic they produce, then I will be able to choose the type of devices that I can use. Current state of the network, because we're designing a completely new network, we don't have an existing network. Then we come to the logical design. So the network topology should include one or more drawings that illustrate the logical architecture of the network. So firstly, we'll need one higher diagram that show the whole network. Every single part of it, the farmers, the distribution centers, the sensors, the trucks, and then you can zoom in on, let's say, the farmer and have another picture that you show the inside of it. A model for addressing network segment and devices, and a model for naming network devices. We go back to that lecture note, and you see we went over what are the models that we can use for addressing. We can use DNS, for example, or we can use just randomly. You need to be making a choice. And the same apply for IP addresses. Are you going to use the SCP? Are you going to use static IP addressing? How? What is the model they are using? Then you have the list of switching and routing protocol that has been selected to implement the design. So I only need to provide a list of these switching and routing protocols. Don't give me a list of some other protocols that I didn't ask you to provide me with them. And when, for example, when given a list of routing protocol, let's say you chose OSPF, you need to indicate OSPF is going to be used on which router, for which segment of the network, not just OSPF. And here, as well, I don't want theory writing. I don't want you to give me definition. Oh, OSPF is the use this kata. I don't care. Okay? I don't want you to lecture me about or write a definition about all of these protocols. And make sure you know the routing protocols you're picking. So some of you had VPN and routing protocol. VPN is not a routing protocol. Some of you had HTTPS or whatever protocol, put in any, that's zero. It's not a routing protocol. Make sure you know it's a routing protocol before you answer this section. Okay? And the same apply for switching protocols. So once you have analyzed all the network, analyzed the devices, the user community, the traffic, what sort of application they are using, now you are able to list the security risk in the network, where the risks are coming. Do we need to authenticate the farmers? Do we need to authenticate and authorize the users? Does data when stored, does it need to be protected? When information are transformed across the network, do we need also to encrypt it, secure it? This is where you start recommending the security mechanism. If a detailed security plan was developed as part of network design, it can be submitted as an attachment to it. So here you need to include a summary of the security policy and procedures in terms of authentication, authorization, confidentiality, integrity, security mechanism against attacks, and so on. The rest of the two are for your next assignment. So if you go back to that, your written assignment, the list of requirements, this should include what?
Business goals.
Business goals and
Technical.
technical goals. The list of assumptions. The assumptions are not the requirement that have been provided in the tasks. So the assumption should not be, you read from the
Scenario.
project specification as an assignment, as an assumption. There are additional requirements that you might need for your design. And this assumption cannot be on your choices of technology. You cannot say, we assume the signal of the access point will reach next room. That's wrong. This is not an assumption. This is as if you've already finished your design, and if you already selected your network, and now you are making an assumption. And a valid assumption here could be an estimation of the number of customers per day, an estimation of how many orders customers going to put. That could be an assumption. All right? An estimation of how far the truck need to travel. This could be a valid estimation. The estimation on the actual case. Assumption on the information that you don't have. Not on your choice of technology, not on your design, not on the decision you made. You understand this point? So 1, 2, and then you show your logical diagram. Like I said, if you have more than one image, it will be better. and then you can explain these images, make sure the images has proper naming, IP addressing, the model that you are using, the text is clear. So you're not using, let's say, a circle and you connect to the internet and you are leaving me to guess if this is a switch or a router or an access point or whatever. It's clear what it is. The model for addressing and naming, like we said, and make sure in here, in between, especially as a justification, you include all of these data flow diagrams, user communities, data store, estimation of the traffic, all of that tables that we went through in week 2 or 3, so that is chapter 2 and 3. It's all MDD justified. The list of routing and switching protocol, like I said, again, switch and then the list, and then you refer for each one of them back to the image. List of security mechanism, authentication, authorization, encryption if it's needed. Do you need to protect against physical attack, then physical protection? Do you need to protect against DOS attack, then DOS attack? There's banking information. Do we need to provide some security for this information or no? Financial information, yes. What sort of security is needed? So you analyze it, and then you can say we could use HTTPS, for example, to secure the information at the application layer. We could use firewall to protect against physical attack on the DOS attack on the network. You can use packet filter to cope with IRP poisoning attack or whatever. So first, you need to identify on your network what are the security mechanisms. I don't want you in here like you did in your presentation to come and define authorization for me. I know what's authorization. I don't need to come and say authorization, blah, blah, blah. I know that. Why you need it in your network? Where do you need it? Why is it a security concern in your network? How are you going to address this issue? And please do not include an executive summary, not include any of these. 3.